won't lose all your herbs in there. Just keeps a consistent flavor. You can do a bouquet, which is exactly how it sounds. So you can take like some chives, some cilantro, some parsley, stems on, tie a knot around them so it looks like a bouquet. Just throw it in there. So as soon as you're done, you can take it right out. Usually they say you wouldn't add salt or pepper to any stock because typically what you're making the stock for, you're going to add the salt and pepper to your dish. Okay? Alright, then you would add from your vegetables from the most dense to least dense. You got to think about your cooking time. Like the carrots will take longer to cook than the potatoes will, hands down. So you would add that 5 minutes earlier, and then add your potatoes, or your potatoes will become mush within your stew while you're waiting for the carrots to cook. Alright. You always want to season at the very end. And typically you want to taste throughout to see where you're at.
This is
There's soup-like
Guiness
consistency on the bottom.
Cool.
There's a couple of ways to thicken it. One would be a roux. We actually made a roux earlier, didn't end up using it, we went with a different method, which roux is equal parts of flour and fat. And your fat doesn't necessarily have to be butter. Like if you made a stock, you have about that much layer on top, that's all fat. You can take all that, put it in a saute pan, melt it down, add your flour, it'll give it more flavor, which is what I would use for this. You could do a slurry, which I don't typically like to do slurries personally. I'll use them only for like vinaigrettes and stuff like that.
Oh, I got one. I'm good.
I rarely ever use them for cooking, especially stews. The problem with the roux is if you put in too much, you could almost pick up a handful, turn your hand over, and it'll stick to your hand. It'll just become paste. Or it'll break apart. Or you can do what I did, and that is I added some tomato paste. Tomato paste, unlike the others, you do not have to separate your ingredients from your water. You can just stir in your tomato paste. If you were to add a roux, I would just take a strainer on top of something, get all the meats, vegetables out, take it, transfer that over to the stove top, then I would have to cook the roux in, and then add it back and mix it back. It's just too much work. Tomato paste, you can stir it right in, and it'll cut your reduction time in half.